Hi, I'm Laurie Pace. I'm here at the Rear Gallery in Jackson, and I'm here from Dallas, Texas. I want to share with you a little bit of my artwork and my background and my history. Color is basically the main drive in my life when I work with art, and I look at art when I teach as well as I paint, and I look at it and I think of it as a gift, and I think of it as an inspirational thing. My husband always teased me because when I go into a department store and I see all the vast amounts of clothes everywhere, I'm like, oh, look at this color, and I pull it out and it's like it's got to go home with me. And then I go home and I find I've got 6 shirts that same color or 4 dresses that color. So I found that by using my painting, it sort of allows me to take this passion and put the color back into my work. I have, I guess, done art my entire life. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, I was really inspired. I had an older cousin, and she always carried her sketchbook with her and her pencil, and she would just sketch and sketch, and I was the little kid that was just hovering over her trying to see what she was drawing. So I would go home from visiting her, and I would try and do my little drawings, and it was from there, from my cousin Annette, that I began my inspiration with my art. I have painted and drawn ever since I was about 4 years old, and actively in high school I contributed work to public broadcasting systems and their auctions and things. And then I branched off a little bit as a teenager and was a professional model for about 15 years, but then I started teaching art again and getting back into, I guess, the rhythm of everything. This is one of my favorite type of styles to do. I call this a pull paint effect, and I take the impasto and mix it with the oils and literally just pull layers and layers. There must be 6 layers of paint pulled on this one canvas. And then from that I begin to look to see where I might see horses coming out or different things coming out, and you can barely see the outline and then the mask of the horse coming down. And this allows me to use that color, the passion I have for color within my work. This piece is called Spirit of Fire, and again, it's with a lot of impasto in it. I paint with a palette knife instead of a brush. It probably has about 4 layers of paint on it, and the horse is almost carved out of the paint as you go along with it. These are smaller pieces done in a very similar fashion as that. Before I talk about any more pictures, I want to go back and tell you a small tale of how I really began painting again in depth, just a little bit more. I had been teaching school for about 7 or 8 years, and I had taught elementary school as well as art. And I finally decided I didn't want to be in the classroom anymore, so I came home and I set up this huge room to have my drafting board and all my pencils, and I set up everything, and I sat there. I must have sat there for about 3 or 4 days, and I just broke down crying one day and called someone I knew from high school named Ann Caver, who is an artist, and I was like, what do I do? I have all this stuff here and I don't know what to do. And she kept saying to me, just wait, it'll happen. Just wait, it'll happen. She sort of nurtured me through that first year. I did a lot of commission work, which was, again, horses and things like that. And so as I began to work with the different styles, this one is from about 3 years ago, and it's a softer impressionism. It's a lot of layers, again, and a lot of scraping to create that. And before I started going on to others, I was picked up by a gallery in New York, and that particular gallery decided we'd do a show, and we formed a group of artists called the 5 Graces. And one of the Graces is here tonight, and she is also a very old friend from high school and a fellow artist, and this is Debbie Grayson Lincoln. And you can say hello.
Hello.
So I had tried in turn to maybe push her a little bit more with her art, and she's been really doing a lot. She is in several galleries now in Texas.
Sold 2 today.
Good job. And so we sort of inspire each other along, and I think that's one of the most important things. Well, you always inspire me too. So she made the trip all the way from Dallas up here to coincide to be here for this opening here in Jackson.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
She's great.
Anyway, but she paints horses and Western scenes and things like that. So we try and keep, I guess, the creativity going between the artists and feeding each other as we go. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is one of my newer styles that I just started doing. We had just literally sacks and sacks of old antique music from a great-grandfather. And a lot of this music is from maybe 1929 all the way up to 1950. And so I've been taking it and literally laying varnish layers with the music onto the canvas, and then coming back with rubs of acrylic and then laying the content down on top of that with about 4 more layers of varnish on top of that. And that's become a very popular style. In the galleries up in New York, they tend to like this particular effect, which again is the very deep layers of paint just laid upon the canvas and pulled. Some of these pulls get to be almost a ½ inch in depth as they go. I have to give a lot of credit to my husband for where I am today. I think it's been his belief in my art and his encouragement that has enabled me to continue with my work within the studio. I give a lot of credit as well to a higher power that I think inspires me as I paint, and I feel a lot of the spiritual connectivity that comes through me goes into my work, and from that I think it then transfers on to the people that view it. I'm very grateful to Rick and to Holly for having us here for this show, and I thank everybody for their time.